to start out this video just by saying a massive thank you to everybody who showed their support on my last video, Dear Dice. I've been overwhelmed just by the amount of comments and suggestions that I've had in the comment section of that video, giving other people's opinions of what they think should be in the next Battlefield, and it's been absolutely fantastic to read through them all and reply to them all. So I thought to give back to you guys, I would make a video going through and giving my spoken opinions regarding quite a few of those comments. Now, there is potential for this to turn into an actual series where you could leave comments on this video and the consequential videos, leaving your opinions about what should be in the next Battlefield game. And if you want to do that, make sure to leave me some comments in the section below, and I'll be sure to try and make a new one. So without further ado, let's get into the first comment. This comment comes from Matthew, and he says, they need to stop worrying about releasing against COD. They're different games and don't really compete with each other. I'd buy both, but for different reasons. If Battlefield needs to cook in the oven for a little bit longer, I don't think anyone would care if it meant the release was smoother. A buggy release will chase anyone new to the series away anyway. I absolutely agree with you here, dude. Battlefield and Call of Duty are two separate sides of a coin. Call of Duty is focused on infantry, close quarters combat, and yes, Battlefield has aspects of that, but the bigger picture is that it has massive vehicular combat maps. And whilst competition between industries and developers is technically good for the consumer, it isn't going to be great if the game is actually rushed to release to compete with the game, and then that means that it's broken. And as we saw with Battlefield 4, it's just a hot mess. Now, we saw a delay with Battlefield Hardline. Battlefield Hardline was meant to come out around, I think, the same, like October time of 2014. However, it was pushed to March of 2015, just so that they could iron out the bugs and make sure that it was not buggy at release. And it worked. It actually worked at launch. The servers worked, the balancing was done correctly, and it worked. So we know that a delay will help a game function at launch, and if it needs to, it should do. I've always been of that mentality that release a game when it's ready, not when people want it to be released. So absolutely, I agree with you here, dude. Great comment. The second comment comes from Thomas Russell, and he says, I want more unique camos for players, like Battlefield 3, where they were more distinct rather than beige, grey and sludge colours of BF4. I would also love some more player customization, not too much, just things like uniform, maybe different kinds of material, but so you can distinguish between classes still. I would also like more aesthetic vehicle customization options. Now, it seems to be what you're describing here is the new gun bench system that we have in Battlefield Hardline. If you don't know about this, it was just that some details were released a few days ago, and you are able to basically create your own custom camos for both your weapons and your player as well. So you can change like the colour of your shirt and put designs and stuff on it. And I think that, yes, this would be a really, really cool addition into the next Battlefield title. It's all going to be cosmetic. It's not going to affect the gameplay in any way, apart from that if you put like an luminous orange jumper on, then you might be able to be more easily noticed across a map. But again, that's on you. You're choosing to put that disadvantage to yourself. So there is another reason why I actually really like this idea, and that's because it opens the game up to microtransactions. Now wait, before you get your pitchforks, don't stab them at me. The reason why I like microtransactions in this cosmetic sense is because this then opens up the game to other systems, like what we have in Rainbow Six Siege, and there's another game that does it as well, Halo. In those two games, all of the DLC, like new content updates with maps and new operators, characters, whatever, that's all free for everybody, which means that the player base isn't split up. It means that everybody gets all the content, and it means that the player base sticks as one big lump throughout the entirety of the game's life cycle. The way that the game actually earns more money as the game goes on through its life cycle is through these cosmetic microtransactions. When Rainbow Six Siege, you can buy skins for real life money, or you can buy Rainbow Six credits, I think it is, and then use them to buy skins. And in Halo 5, you can buy some sort of points to buy like rec packs, I think it is, that you can then use in the multiplayer. And I think Battlefield 4, you can buy battle packs as well. They're just not that popular because we know battle packs aren't that great. But if we were to have this cosmetic microtransaction, that'd be great because it doesn't affect the gameplay, it doesn't affect the balancing of the gameplay. You're not paying for an overpowered weapon, you're just paying for something to stick on like your character or your weapon. That then opens up the possibility of having free DLC and keeping the player base stuck together. So great suggestion, I love this comment. I would definitely love to see a more cosmetic style element implemented into the next Battlefield. I think it'd be a great idea. This third comment comes from Kenny, and he says, I would like the premium maps to be added to the main server so they're not isolated, as we have a situation now where it's hard to find rush servers and obliteration servers just because there's not that many people playing them. And yes, this links into what I was just saying, where DLC splits up the community, where some people have the DLC and a lot of people don't because they don't want to fork out the extra money for the new maps. It's splitting the community. Now, as I said, if we have a microtransaction system that allows the developers to still earn money and release and fund new content and release that for free, then that means that the community is going to stay together as one block. It means that everybody's going to get everything and it's not going to be split. Everybody has access to everything. So yes, as I said, I would love to see if DLC was just free and available for everybody. I'm not sure if it's going to happen because given EA's track record, they're the ones that kind of are pushing for this whole DLC structure of releasing content. So I'm not entirely sure if it would be viable for DICE and EA to do, but I'd still love to see it nonetheless. Great comment. The next comment comes from Lolsey, and he says, it would be cool if they added a system where you need to battle the guy if you want to counter his knife, like pressing random buttons on your keyboard. I'm not too sure about this one, honestly. The best comparison I can give to what you're describing is the system in Just Cause 2, if you've ever played that. When you hijack a vehicle, you have to you go through a quick time event of pressing a series of numbers between 1 and 4. In the end, it's not really that fun, and it gets quite old quite quickly. I mean, I know for a fact that playing Just Cause 2, hijacking a vehicle was made a lot less fun by the fact that I have to go through a quick time event just to punch the guy out of the vehicle. The other issue that I can see with this is that when you counter knife somebody, you go through the animation where you can't do anything. You can't cancel the animation. And that then means that you're vulnerable to everybody around you for a good 3 or 4 seconds. Now, adding in this quick time event then means that you're going to be vulnerable for what is probably a much longer period of time, probably about 5, 6 or even 7 seconds. So extending that period of time where you're vulnerable to other people around you, really I don't see working in a multiplayer shooter that is as fast paced as Battlefield is. It's a good idea, but I don't think it would really work for this style of game. And the final comment for this video comes from Vasily. He says, does anybody else think that they should completely scrap the sniping mechanics that they have in Battlefield 4 right now and maybe work on something else? Okay, let's go through this comment bit by bit. Okay, point number 1. Decreasing the thickness of the black lines. I think that this could be implemented in the way that DICE have already done it in Battlefield 4, where they allow you to customize your heads-up display to a pretty great extent. They already give you the option to customize your red dot sight, increasing the size and the glow of it, and the colour of it as well. So I think if in the next Battlefield they just added something where you could actually customise the thickness of the scope lines in like an 8x scope, that'd be really cool, and I think that that's actually viable for them to do. Point number 2, increase the bullet velocity. Yes, I agree with you. This is something that, whilst a lot of people have mastered it and they've spent hours and hours and hours practicing and learning the mechanics of sniping and practicing and learning how to lead their shots, I do think that a higher bullet velocity would be preferred. That's just my opinion, and I'm not a massive sniper, but personally I would like to see an increase in the bullet velocity. 3, get rid of zeroing. Yes, I agree. Zeroing is, I wouldn't say it's a stupid idea, but it just gets fiddly, and then by the time that you've lined up your shot and zeroed it, then they've probably moved unless they're a sniper that's camping off away in the distance. It makes sense for immersion's sakes, like actually being a real life sniper, you would have to zero your scope, but it's a video game. We're playing a video game to have fun, not for realism, so in my opinion, I think that yes, they should remove the zeroing. Less sniper rifles? I'm not too sure. Yes, they should have a few less, because as I said, there is quite a lot of weapon bloating in Battlefield 4, so there should be less, but I don't think that there should be too few that we don't have enough variety. 5 ghillie suits, yes, that'd be really cool, and it actually gives the recon quite a bit of uniqueness to it. I mean, there's not really that much that's unique in the recon class right now, apart from that they're the only class that gets sniper rifles, so giving them something that visually distinguishes them from the support, engineer and assault class, that'd be pretty cool. Getting rid of the scope, Clint, I agree. It wasn't in Bad Company 2 and everything turned out fine then, so I don't think people would miss it. Yeah, you're right. And 7, don't give the recons access to any weapons other than DMRs and bolt actions. To an extent, I agree. Yes, I think their primary weapons should be limited to DMRs and bolt actions. However, I would like to see something similar to what we have in Battlefield Hardline, where the recon class actually has access to some pretty damn powerful secondary weapons. So, for example, the Assault class, Engineer class, and Support class could have access to just the standard pistol firearms, like the P226 and the Deagle or something like that. But then, if the Recon class got access to an SMG or a PDW as a secondary weapon, like an MP5K or a Vector or an Uzi or something like that, something that packs a little bit more punch than a pistol, but not something that packs quite as much punch as a full-on assault rifle or shotgun. And that's all the comments that I have for you today. If you have your own suggestion for what you would like to see in the next Battlefield game, make sure to leave it in the comments below, and I shall be sure to try and fit it into a future video if I get enough of them. If you enjoyed, don't forget to absolutely smash that like button and subscribe for more videos like this, and I shall catch you in the next video.